ladies and gentlemen. This is Aditi Ghosh on your favorite Pythagorean numerology channel, InnerWorldRevealed, and this is your monthly forecast for the month of February 2023. I usually do very elaborate intros for my videos, but this time I kind of have a time constraint for which I'm going to keep this one a bit compact. And I'm quickly going to get into the universal month number that I see is activated right now, and that is the number 9. And this universal month 9 is coming within the universal year 7, which makes me quickly conclude that this is going to be an introspective time for the world as a whole. We are kind of going to find a summarization of our past actions, and many projects now are going to reach completion. So as a whole, this is going to be a time of wrapping up and tying all the loose ends. We have to let go of what's about to end and come to terms with it. Endings, however, for many can be an emotionally trying experience, which may also lead to some sudden melodrama or kind of outbursts, or sometimes even push people to a breaking point. But it would help us to know that we now need to look for inner wisdom and composure instead of just reacting to the situation. The world as a whole would now be having a very compassionate tone. People of the world are for some reason going to feel concerned about the state of the world as a whole. They're going to feel compassion for others, and so if we harbor any kind of vindictive or negative or selfish feelings, that's not going to be supported. We rather would need to become more compassionate, receptive, and broad-minded, and stay open to new perspectives. People of the world would now be concerned, or perhaps even they could be trying to improve the situations of the countries beyond their own country. They could be turning against those leaders who seem to lack empathy for humankind. They could be strongly feeling protective towards the one who are being victimized or who are being wronged. At the same time, certain dormant issues of the past would also resurface, and they would puzzle us one more time. Once again, we would need to reflect upon the lessons that we've already learned in the past and use our wisdom that we have gained from the past to sail through the situations that would arise now. So that was a quick look at the tone of the world as a whole, how the world would be reacting as a whole. But now let us look at what your personal cycles say. And for that, you need to know your personal year number and also the transition point in the month. For the personal year number, you simply need to add all the digits of your last birthday and reduce the sum to a single digit base value. This number is going to be changing on your upcoming birthday, which means your personal year number is going to be changing with your upcoming birthday. The transition point is simply the specific day on which you were born, which divides the month into two parts, unless you were born on the 1st or 28th of any month. So now that you know your personal year number and you know your transition point, just click on the chapter or the link which is provided in the description box that corresponds to your case and find the personalized forecast specially suited to your case, unlike any other forecast that you find over the internet. This is going to be personalized for you because it's very much fitted to your date of birth. And in case you would wish to know more about your personal year that is ongoing right now, in case you would like to know more about it in details, it would help you understand the trend of the entire year. So for that, you would need to click on the I button for the annual year forecast for 2023. In case you wish to widen your knowledge on Pythagorean numerology, you can read the 2 books written by me. The Amazon links to both these books is provided in the description box below. If you have Kindle Unlimited, it's good news for you because both the books are available for free on Kindle Unlimited. I'm sure that either of the 2 books are not going to disappoint you, so please leave a review also after you read them. So let me now begin with all of you who are in the personal year 1. And the year 1 is ideally the time to be independent and the time to try out new ideas. It is the time to be more assertive and active. However, for the first part of the month, that is still the transition point, you'd need to show more of a low-key, patient and diplomatic approach. You'd need to be more observant, you'd need to be more careful and mindful, and would need to think deeply and plan carefully. You need to be very peaceful with your ways and find the middle path. You have to avoid confrontations. As the month would transition into the next part, the seriousness of the time will subside, and so you can become more carefree and expressive. You can also become more creative. You can attend all the social events and the gatherings that you would be invited to and build a lot of meaningful connections. It is also going to be a time to lighten up for a while. You can take things on an easy note, and you can also go on vacations. Even if for a very short while, you can definitely do it. This brings me to all of you who are in the personal year 2. And the personal year 2 is a time when you need to actually avoid all the unnecessary attention and become more careful, tactful, and you have to show that you're a team player. The first part of the month for you will have a very carefree note within this time. Even though the overall pace of the year 2 will be kind of slow, but the first part is going to be more of an active time, and it's going to be a high energy time when you can also have some fun and be more carefree. Now, as the second part of the month sets in, the party time is going to be over, I tell you, and you need to become more serious about life. You'd immediately need to stop any kind of procrastination and become serious about managing your finances. You have to become serious about your work. You have to finish all the tasks that you've been putting off for a while, and you have to look after the basics of your house, the basics of your life, and get all the repair jobs done, get all the fixing done. And you have to also look at the personal issues that you've been ignoring for a while, and you have to strengthen your foundation for the future. So let me now come to all of you who are in the personal year 3. And 3 is usually seen to be a happy-go-lucky time. It's a fun time when you can sing, dance and play. But the first part of the month will demand some seriousness from you. You need to be more efficient and dependable at work. You have to put things in order and organize your space. You'd also need to organize your finances and see that they are well managed. You have to pay attention to all the personal issues that you've been ignoring for a while. Now, as you transition into the next part of the month, you'd be entering a highly active time when everything would be happening very fast and you will become totally involved with life. You're also going to receive more social support and some positive feedback, which will encourage you to open up further. There are also going to be some sudden surprises or perhaps some unexpected information or opportunities coming your way, and you'd need to show quick wit and flexibility towards grabbing them. Let me now come to all of you who have the personal year 4 activated. And the personal year 4 is a time to organize your life and sharpen your skills. You have to now build very strong foundations for the future. For you, the first part of the month will be a very active time when there'll be too much to do. Even though 4 is a year to go by the routine, but for that small duration of time within this year 4, you can be a little bit different and drop the routine for a while. There'll be some little surprises also that'll make you feel more optimism. There'll be some events that'll also test your flexibility, and you'll have to be very active and very involved, but you have to avoid being restless. As you would transition into the second part of the month, all of your attention is going to move towards your home, family, parents, spouse, children, and relatives. All of this is going to take the front seat, and you'll have to juggle and balance between work and all the interpersonal relationships. Your love life during this time is going to be quite satisfying. You can strengthen some meaningful bonds, but at the same time, some disillusioning relationships also may end during this time. This brings me to all of you who are in the personal year 5 right now, and the year 5 is always seen to be a very satisfying year when you're able to fully get involved in the various activities and experience life in a new way. The first part of the month during this time will be a time to dedicate yourself towards taking care of some domestic responsibilities. However, you need to take care of your personal belongings, you need to take care of your personal space, and also the people you have very close relationships with or connections with. Now, if tricky situations arise during this time, which is very usual of a year 5, you would need to deal with them during this first part of the month with your sense of balance and harmony, and you would have to avoid being forceful and loud. You have to create harmonious situations around you and balance out the situations. Now, as you would transition into the next part of the month, you'd enter a time period when the pace of events will slow down for a while. It will be like a breather for you in an otherwise very busy year, which is the 5 year. It's a very busy year. So you must take some time to sit back and look inside yourself. You can be alone for some time and read, reflect, improvise upon your plans and think deeply about all that's happening around you. You have to now allow your inner wisdom to speak. You have to listen to it and take note of all the observations that you make. Let me now come to all of you who are in your personal year 6, and 6 is the year to put all your loved ones first and taking care of all of their needs. It is a time to be responsible, fair, and happily doing your duties. The first part of the month within the 6th year, however, is going to be a time when you would need to pay more attention to your own mind, soul, and body. You need to sit back and think deeply about your place in the world. You'd see that this time is revealing something to you, so you just need to observe and take note of it. It's also going to be a good time. Take a little break and spend time with nature. This break is much needed because as you would be transitioning into the next part of the month, life is going to become very, very busy, and you're going to realize how important that breather was. Responsibilities and workload would be increasing during the second part of the month, and you then need to show a lot of focus, a lot of foresight, and a lot of efficiency. You'd also need to take care of all your finances, of all your belongings, and you have to be very careful with money. You also have to be careful about not getting into unnecessary arguments with people, because you don't need to prove a point during that time. You just would be noticed anyways. Let me now come to all of you who are in your personal year 7. And 7 is always a very inner year when you need to think deeply, reflect upon your past actions, and advance very carefully and slowly. However, within this slow-paced time, the first part of the month is going to be quite potent and active when you can do something impactful, but not in a forceful way, mind it. Your method needs to be subtle and gentle. You'd also need to be careful about your money and see that your finances are properly managed. You need to focus on your goals and advance your position, but also at the same time remain a bit secretive and silent about your plans. The second part of the month would be a time of a lot of introspection when you may begin to think deeply about the decisions that you've made in the past. You'd need to maintain this low profile that you're keeping this year. Also, if you find opportunities during that time to be of help to someone, you must generously and selflessly help out. You may also keep on tying up all the loose ends, and you have to clear your space and discard the things that you don't need anymore. You have to be selfless. You can indulge in some kind of charity and selflessly release and let go of all the things that have served their purpose in your life. This brings me to all of you who are in the personal year 8, and 8 is always the year of extremes. During this time, you'd see that things quickly escalate and also quickly subside, and your actions bring very quick results during this time. The first part of the month within this 8 year would be a time to become a humanitarian, okay? Show compassion and empathy towards whosoever you have an encounter with during this time. You have to be kind, generous, and helpful towards them. There's also going to be a time when you can make some changes and reorganize your life. You can release all the things that you don't need anymore, and you have to allow them to go. As you would transition into the next part of the month, you'd find yourself in some kind of a decision-making position where you'd have to think independently and decide. It will also be a very potent time to begin something new or take up some position of leadership. You'd need to be very assertive, enthusiastic, focused, and creative. You'd need to completely trust your abilities and surge ahead. Finally, let me now come to all of you who are in the personal year 9, and 9 is a time of completion and fulfillment. Many things that you are deeply connected to or attached to pass out of your life during this year, and this can be quite an emotional experience. You'd need to stay compassionate towards each person that you encounter during this time and harbor no negative feelings towards them. Even towards your enemies, I must say. The first part of the month will place you in some decision-making position when you may feel deeply for a cause and you may feel pushed towards deciding upon something. I'd say let compassion be the main theme and base all your decisions on forgiveness, mercy, and empathy. Avoid being vindictive or selfish, as you're not going to be fully supported in that case. Trust your abilities and take the lead towards solving your problems. Don't expect others to take on the problems that you have. Now, as you would transition into the next part of the month, you would then need to sink into your spiritual self. Your intuition is going to be very, very strong during that time. So you'd need to allow your intuition to speak and you have to listen to it. Don't argue much with people also to prove your point. Try to be receptive and agree more with people. Be happy to do a little more than your share even if you don't get acknowledged for it immediately. So ladies and gentlemen, this was the quick forecast for the month of February 2023 for all of you. This is a tool through which you can create your future, because fate is only the predetermined premises of the story of your life. The choices that you make being within those premises creates a different experience. And we cannot change the premises of the story, but we can definitely change the experience that we have. So this is a monthly numerology forecast, or I must say this is a monthly numerology remedy that I offer to you so that you are able to create a more fulfilling and happy experience in your life. If you have liked watching this log and have found it to be useful, please remember to click the like button before you go. Share the log so that others in need are also able to improve their lives like yours. Subscribe to the channel so that I feel more loved and encouraged. You can also like my Facebook page or follow me on Instagram to keep in touch with me. That'll be all for today. Have a very good time. Bye bye.